Let us pray. Almighty God, the creator and ruler of heaven and earth, we beseech thee to inspire and guide all our actions so that we may always walk in the path of justice, love, and charity to one another. Help us with thy grace to do only those things that will promote the unity, peace, happiness, and prosperity of Nigeria in general and Lagos State in particular. Amen. Good afternoon, sir. Good morning, distinguished colleagues and our guests. You are all welcome. Let us go through the votes and proceedings of Thursday, 5th November 2020. Ojú ìwé kejìdínláàádọ́rin lé lẹ́gbẹ̀ta. Aṣòfin Sylvester.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues. Ẹ káàárọ̀ olùdarí àti ẹ̀yin ẹlẹgbẹ́ mi. Mo rí orúkọ mi ní àwọn tí kò wá ní ọjọ́ Àlàmísì. Mo dẹ̀ wá sí ọjọ́ yẹn sá.
Ọ̀wé àgbà bá wa ṣàtúnṣe. Aṣòfin Rótìmí Olówó.
Olùdarí ẹ káàárọ̀. Mo rí pé orúkọ èmi àti ọ̀nàrẹ́bù Ṣọ́lájà wà ní àwọn tí kò wá ṣùgbọ́n àgbàṣẹ lọ́wọ́ igbákejì yín pé à ń lọ fún
Ọ̀wé àgbà bá wa ṣe àtúnṣe. Ojú ìwé kọkàndínláàádọ́rin lé lẹ́gbẹ̀ta. Ojú ìwé àádọ́rin lé lẹ́gbẹ̀ta. Ojú ìwé kọkànléláàádọ́rin lé lẹ́gbẹ̀ta. A ti ṣe àgbéyẹ̀wò àkọsílẹ̀ ìjíròrò yìí tí ó kọjá a sì fi òǹtẹ̀lú. Any message from the governor?
Right Honorable Speaker, sir. Distinguished honorable members, there is no message from the governor, sir.
Any other announcements?
Right Honorable Speaker, there is no announcement.
Petitions?
None, sir.
Matter of urgent public importance? Honorable Temitope.
Right Honorable Speaker of the foremost House of Assembly, the Lagos State House of Assembly, distinguished colleagues, my name is Honorable Temitope Adewale and I represent the good people of Ifakojai Constituency 1. Mr. Speaker, dear colleagues, I bring before you a matter of urgent public importance today on the incessant attacks on LSHA officials while on duty in Lagos State. Mr. Speaker, Sections 26, 27, 28 of the Transport Sector Reform Law, Lagos State of 2018 has spelled out the roles and responsibilities, functions and powers of the establishment, the Lagos State Traffic Monitoring Agency. Mr. Speaker, it has become an habit for motorists and road users to pounce on LSHA officials at every given opportunity, knowing fully well that at the end of the exercise, nothing happens and they go home with the injury. Mr. Speaker, 2 days ago, I received a call again regarding the same issue of regarding one Mr. Ismail Lukman, a LSHA officer who was at his duty post in Jakonde when one Mr. Ben approached him and said he should halt traffic so he could cross the road to the other side. Mr. Ismail, the LSHA officer, refused vehemently and said not far away from where he was standing, meters away, there was an overhead bridge, at the same time a pedestrian bridge where he could use to cross to the other side of the road. Mr. Speaker, this said Mr. Ben went ahead and used the road. The LSHA official was very at his job. He went ahead and arrested him, and then the Mr. Ben went ahead to fight him and struck him with something that looked like a metal on his head. While he was having this fun, two other passerbys joined at the melee and said vehemently that as we have chased away the police officers on the road, we will do the same thing to you. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Lukman still refused and ensured that there was no way the man could have crossed the road to the other side without using the bridge. They ended up pouncing on him and injured him and gave him a laceration on his head. Before he knew it, he was drowned in his own pool of blood. If not for the mobile police officers that were on patrol and the police officers around at that particular time, they came to his rescue and apprehended the said Mr. Ben while the two other perpetrators ran away. Mr. Speaker, I rise today to condemn all attacks on all uniform officers, especially Lagos State Traffic Monitoring Agency officers who given their time and their lives to protect and to ensure that there's free flow of vehicular movement on our roads, bearing in mind we have a estimated 6,000.
Be seated, please.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Ben was arrested by the mobile police officers on duty and on patrol, while the remaining two perpetrators are still at large. Mr. Speaker, I rise today to condemn all forms of attack on our uniformed officers, especially the Lagos State Traffic Monitoring Agency officers, who daily they put their lives on the line to ensure the free flow of traffic and vehicular movement in the metropolis and the state at large. Mr. Speaker, my prayers. I hereby call on Mr. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu to direct the State Attorney General to speed up prosecution of Mr. Ben and other perpetrators of this disgraceful act, to serve as warning for future occurrences, to call on the police, to direct the Commissioner for Police to provide adequate security for last mile officials when they are embarking on duties, so as to ensure their safety and security. 3, the Governor should direct the Commissioner of Information and Strategy to educate and enlighten Lagosians and the people on the danger of attacking last mile officials and any other law enforcement agency in the line of duty. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, the Governor should direct the General Manager of last mile to organize a sensitization program and in-house training for last mile officials on their rules of engagement, at the same time their safety while at their duty. I so move.
Honorable Rotimi, in brief, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My colleague, good morning. Mr. Speaker, one too many. The lives of our... No, Speaker said few minutes. Please, you look at Speaker, not me. Mr. Speaker, as I was saying, the last mile officials have been attacked. And lately, I think it's getting out of tune if nothing is done. Some of them have been maimed, some of them have been killed for little provocation, and I think if you don't protect them. So in addition to what he said, Mr. Speaker, if you look at section 24C of the 1999 Constitution as amended, with the leave of Mr. Speaker, it says, it shall be the duty of every citizen to respect the dignity of other citizens and the rights and legitimate interests of others, and live in unity and harmony and in the spirit of common brotherhood. Mr. Speaker, I will say the Attorney General should please put in place all the machinery with a view to prosecuting the perpetrators. Thank you.
Honorable Naim.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, distinguished colleagues. First and foremost, let me commend the prime mover of this motion. I want to say that this motion is apt and it is timely. However, Mr. Speaker, LSHA itself was established on the 15th of July, year 2000, by our former governor, Governor Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And the main goal of creating LSHA was to create an atmosphere for sustainable social and economic growth by ensuring free flow of traffic in Lagos State. Mr. Speaker, the major job of LSHA is to reduce congestion and delays on our road. Mr. Speaker, also by injecting order and control into the road traffic system, they can also work to stop high level of indiscipline
come after everybody has deliberated, since this is not a substantive motion. Can you go ahead and adjust your prayer?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. The prayers, may I read from the beginning, sir? To call on His Excellency Babajide Sanwo-Olu, the Governor of Lagos State, to direct the State Attorney General to speed up prosecution of Mr. Ben and all others so as to serve as a warning to offenders. Two, to direct the Commissioner of Police to provide adequate security for LSHA officials saddled with responsibility.
That is a leg I want you to drop. We can't call on the Commissioner of Police to now provide protection for the LSHA. Thus, the prosecution is to ensure implementation of that provision or section of the LSHA law, and I think that is enough to carry out the intendment of your motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My prayers shall be as amended by the Right Honorable Speaker. Thank you, sir.
Well, the prayer is to call on the Governor, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, to direct the Attorney General to ensure prosecution of Mr. Ben and others who attacked our LSHA officials. So he's so moved. Second, Honorable Lumo.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I rise to second the motion as moved.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those against, nay. The ayes have it. Mr. Clark, kindly direct the reserve to Mr. Governor. Well, good afternoon once again. Personal explanations, none. Reports, none. Presentation of the day. Now, presentation of your 2021 budget estimates. And two, laying of the year 2021 budget estimate by the Governor of Lagos State, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu. Before Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, it's a special day for presentation and laying of year 2021 budget estimates by the Governor of the state, Mr. Babajide Olushola Sanwo-Olu. In view of that, Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, I wish to move that the rules of the House governing plenary and debate be suspended, as well as activating Rule 159, admitting strangers to participate in the proceeding of the House. I so move.
Honorable Shokule.
I have the right to second the motion as moved.
All in favor, say aye. Those against, no. The ayes have it. Before we move on, permit me to recognize the presence of dignitaries in our midst this morning. Starting with, I welcome Mr. Governor, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu. You are most welcome to your house. And in the same vein, I welcome the Deputy Governor of the state, Dr. Olufemi Amsad. And our brother, the Chief Judge of Lagos State, Honorable Justice Kazim Alugba. You are welcome, sir. Thank you for coming. Members of the National Assembly, present. Mrs. Sharifa Jadi, Secretary to the State Government. You are welcome, ma'am. Thank you for coming. Mr. Akim Muri Okola, the Head of Service, we thank you for coming. Mr. Tayo, the Chief of Staff to the Governor, you are most welcome. Members of State Executive Council, you are all welcome. We thank you for coming. And also my own lovely wife, Mrs. Falila Tolushola Obasa, you are most welcome. And our team, the last levels, we thank you for your support always. Thank you, man. Member of Lagos State husband of Lagos State legislators, Miranda, you are most welcome. Our party chairman, Mr. Tunde Balogun. I think it's high time we do something about this mister. Maybe chief and most welcome. Body of permanent secretaries, you are all welcome. Our former speakers, you are all welcome. I've not seen any. You are all welcome if you are around. Member of Eco Legislative Forum, we thank you for coming. You are most welcome, sir. Mr. Akim Odumosu, Commissioner of Police, you are most welcome, sir. We thank you for coming. Mr. Olusegun Ogungbemi, the Sector Commander, Federal Road Safety Corps, you are welcome, sir. We thank you. Alhaji Shakira Koniseriki Banu, we thank you. Member of GSA, thank you, sir. Senator Adeshere Gulewe, PC Leader, you are most welcome, sir. We thank you for coming. Honorable Dr. Sonia Joseph, OON, Deputy State Party Chairman, we thank you for coming, sir. Chief Shafar Adara Nijo, our own leader from Agege, we thank you for coming, sir. Thank you. Chief Mrs. Ese, Chairman Conference 57, we thank you, ma'am. Body of Local Governments, Local Council Development Area Chairman, you are most welcome. Members of All Progressive Congress, APC, we thank you for coming. Members of All People's Democratic Party, you are most welcome. Captains of Industry, members of Diplomatic Corps, Head of Extra Ministerial Department, most welcome. Former clerks, you are all welcome. Members of the press, we thank you. Our own Kabiyesi Alaije of Orile Agege, Oba Akim Adegbeyi, you are most welcome, sir. Kabiyesi Olu of Agege, Oba Oyedeji Kamila Isiba, Kabiyesi Ọlọ́jà Fẹ̀pẹ́, Oba Kamorudeen Animation, Kabiyesi Shivale Mogaji, Chairman Lascom, and other members of the commission, you are all welcome. We thank you for coming. Well, I want to seek your concurrence not to make the house burn feel so bad. I want to give you a few minutes, like 3-4 minutes at least, to put us in the mood.
Be
Well, I didn't know you are going to take on the Mr. Governor before I start. I will have allowed that. So we still have more time to consider. Well, permit me to welcome Alhaji Abdurrahman Olamilekon Amushan and Alhaji Dr. Sulaiman Adeshina Raji. We thank you for coming. You are all welcome. May I now call on Mr. Governor for his presentation.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. First, let me acknowledge the very multi-talented House of Assembly choir or group. Thank you very much for that 10 minutes, nerve relaxing melody. And like you said, we'll still have time for more. The Deputy Governor of Lagos State, my brother, my partner, my friend, my co-sojourner, my 5 and 6, somebody that I respect so very much for his support, Dr. Kadri Obafemi Hamzat. The Speaker of the most vibrant House of Assembly in Nigeria, who up until very recently, the chair of the Conference of Speakers in Nigeria, and the speaker that speaks all of the time, our one and only Right Honorable Mudashiru Obasa, and his very lovely and amiable wife, Mrs. Falilat Olushola Obasa. Thank you very much for your support. To our speaker, honorable members of this great Lagos State House of Assembly, acknowledge each and every one of you individually and collectively. Members of the state executive here in their large number, from the SSD, Chief of Staff to HOS, all of you, thank you very much for your support to this administration, your dedication and your tenacity. Thank you. The chairman of our great party, who the Right Honorable Speaker says we cannot be using Mr. and we are tired of using Honorable. So we will look for some other appendages for you. But for now, Honorable Tunde Balogun, thank you very much, sir. And of course, other members of your Executive Council. Members of the body of Permanent Secretary here present. Members of the Governor's Advisory Council here present, not in any particular order. I want to acknowledge Alhaji Shikiruddin Seriki Bamu, thank you very much, sir. Cardinal Odumbaku, thank you very much. Chief Sonia Jose, Alhaji Mutiware, Excellency Prince Abiodun Ogunleye, Senator Olusheye Ogunleye. Thank you all very much for being part of today's history. Commissioner of Police, our one and only CP Akim Odumosu, and also the Sector Commander for FRSC. Thank you very much for holding forth. Our real fathers that are here present, the owners of our heritage, His Royal Majesty Oba Kamaruddin Animasham, the Olojo of Ekwe, thank you very, very much for always supporting us. His Royal Majesty Oba Ambali Agbedeyi the Alaige of Orile Agege. Thank you very much for also supporting our speaker and for supporting our government. His Royal Majesty Oba Kamila Oyedeji Isiba, the Olu of Agege. Thank you very, very much. Thank you, sir. Other chieftains of our great party that are here present, the Lagos State Legislature's Wife Association. I can see you in your elegant white and red attire. Thank you very much for supporting our honorable members, and also the men. Thank you very much, sir, for supporting our female honorable members. I think it's just to acknowledge senior government officials here present, members of the Lagos State House of Assembly, staff, officers, the entire legislative aides that we have in this arena today. Thank you very much for supporting our honorable members, our various leaders and party faithfuls that are here with us, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen. First is to give God Almighty the praise and honor for giving each and every one of us to be here this morning. If my numbers are not defeating me, I think from May 29, today should be our 531 days in office. We count the days and we know that we have a total of 1,460. So by extension, we've just done slightly over 1/3 of our time. And it's an honor and a rare privilege to be coming to this hallowed chamber to deliver the 2021 budget. And I want to thank the Right Honorable Speaker and members of the House for giving us this opportunity to present and to lay in front of you our budget proposal and estimate for Lagosians, for the people that are truly elected and voted for all of us for the year 2020. For the year 2021. Mr. Speaker, it has been almost 18 months since I became the 15th governor of Lagos State. While the last 1.5 years have been consequential and memorable, today's budget presentation provides an opportunity to enunciate our fiscal vision for the next 1 year, while quantifying our challenges, our triumphs, and developmental achievements in the last 10-11 months. In November 2019, I presented a year 2020 comprehensive budget to this Honorable House, in line with the policy thrust of our administration, which was christened the budget of awakening to a greater Lagos. I'm here today to present the 2021 appropriation budget, which we have rightly christened the budget of rekindled hope. The budget of rekindled hope. The year 2021 is one of a rekindled hope in accordance with recent events of global and national proportions, especially the COVID-19 pandemic and the very recent NSAS protests, the general feeling of disenchantment in the polity, the social economic yearnings of Lagosians for good governance, and the stringent calls in all societal spheres for a more representative democracy that speaks to the issues of sovereign wealth, that speaks to economic growth, that speaks to consistent progress and equitable quality of life. Mr. Speaker, the 2021 appropriation bill encompasses the message of a rekindled hope, the same message that we had been disseminating to Lagosians since March, when we experienced the first COVID-19 case, and since October 11, when the NSAS protest first erupted in Lagos State. More than ever before, our government remains committed to communal cohesiveness and inter-ethnic unity. We will resist every attempt to cause division amongst the numerous ethnic nationalities who call Lagos their home. Lagos State remains a microsome of the entire African continent, and a melting point for all Nigerians. Nothing and no one can undermine our security, our continued oneness, and our unrivaled dedication to the prosperity of our people. This budget preparation and presentation reflects our desire to rebuild the trust of our people in this government, even as we commit significant human and financial resources to the rebuilding of Lagos, while doing all we can to move on from the very unfortunate looting, arson, destruction, and vandalization which we witnessed in this state barely 3 weeks ago. Let me reiterate that this time, it is time for all of us to unite for one more prosperous Lagos state. This is the time to collectively optimize emerging opportunity in a rapidly changing global world. We have an audacious governance goals which we cannot achieve without the concerted effort of all our people. We should not allow the events of the past few months to obliterate our consistent cycle of socio-economic progress. Let us begin to rebuild our states within the determination and optimism, even as we advance the interest of the electorate and restore their confidence in this government. I want all Lagosians to know that the protection of life and property remains a priority of this administration. To the entrepreneurs whose businesses were looted and vandalized, I urge you to take the helping hand offered by Lagos State government through the Lagos State Employment Trust Fund, while we work on other interventions to cushion the effect of your losses. We are in this together. We share the resilient Lagos spirit, which harbors defeat. We must be intentional about a courageously rebuilding Lagos State, which has always been reputed for its political and economic freedom in our whole nation. Before I delve into the 2021 budget estimate, may I at this junction crave your indulgence to offer a minute silence in honor of our various heroes, our youth, and some of them are children, as well as our gallant police officers who have lost their lives during the unfortunate NSAS project. Their lives, we lost their lives while trying to make Nigeria a better place, a country we all can truly be proud of. Please, Mr. Speaker, may we just rise for 1 minute to observe and silence our people that I've mentioned. Thank you very much.
Souls rise in perfect peace.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as we make our financial projections for 2021, it is only appropriate that we contextualize the events and challenges of the past 10 months vis-a-vis the major events that have shaped the world and our country. Two major events that have shaped our outlook for the future: the COVID-19 pandemic and the NSAS campaign. Regarding the NSAS protests, we identified with and continue to identify with the legitimate objective of the NSAS protests. We are just as passionate about ending police brutality, encouraging reforms in our security agencies, and ensuring that police are held accountable for their actions. Unfortunately, in spite of all our best efforts to meet the immediate demands of our youth and set in action plans to comprehensively address the long-term demands, and despite the original noble ideas of the protests were very sadly hijacked by agents of destruction that dealt a great blow to lives, to businesses, and several strategic assets of our dear states. All of us were in the eye of the storm, including members of this House. some of you, I'm aware, suffered great psychological and material losses. This unprecedented damage caused to public and private properties worth hundreds of billions of naira, some being irreplaceable because of their historic artifacts and the materials that they hold for us. Coming in a year as a COVID-19 pandemic, which I shall touch on shortly, one does not need to be an economist to fully understand the extent of the dire situation Lagos now finds itself in. Apart from the devastating present and future cost of this substantial disruption on our economic productivity and the government revenue generating capacity, there is also the substantial mental and psychological toll on all of us. We, however, remain focused despite these challenges. This is who we are as Lagosians. We bounce back, we adapt, we thrive, regardless of the circumstance and the situation. As I have noted earlier, this budget I'm presenting to you today is taking into full account the challenges we have had and will outline a path to full fiscal and economic recovery. It is a document built on the resilience and the energy of our people, and also one that seeks to build the foundation of many important lessons that we have learned in the year 2020. Regarding the COVID-19 pandemic, Lagos has been the epicenter of the COVID-19 pandemic in Nigeria, with close to 22,000 cases, which is about 34% of the total number recorded of infection cases in Nigeria. At the onset of the pandemic, it was clear to us that given the nature of our imported-dependent economy and the impact of the pandemic across the productive centers of the world, there will be negative impact on our economy. I can, however, state with confidence that we have performed better than expected. We recorded only 18% of the expected cases that they thought was going to happen, and only about 10% of the expected fatality, which we had considered as one of the best in global practices, given the outcomes that we saw. Even as we continue to record a steady decline in the number of new infections, we, however, should not relent in our ongoing containment and management of curbing this surge. Bearing unforeseen circumstance, we will continue to maintain a strong pandemic response and remain relentless in keeping our members at our numbers at the barest minimum. We are at the level in which we're struggling to ensure that we don't have, a second wave. And both the Ministry of Health and myself are checking those numbers on a daily basis to ensure that we do not lose sight of the ball. Mr. Speaker, honorable members of this House, first I must thank you all for your support during this very difficult period. And I must acknowledge the sacrifice also of our various frontline health workers, from our doctors to our emergency responders, to our nurses, to our lab technologists who worked tirelessly at the various isolation centers. And I must also acknowledge especially the Lagos spirit, the organized private sector, CACOVID, the non-governmental organization, and of course, the federal government of Nigeria, by extension, Mr. President, who supported us in cash and in kind. All of their collaborative efforts were some of the things that have been used to tackle and attack the surge when it was at the highest level in Lagos. Through the joint effort of all the stakeholders, Lagos State mounted a strong, multifaceted pandemic response to minimize the risk of a catastrophic outcome by promoting socio-economic stability during this pandemic. We set up our incident command system to facilitate easy and speedy resource mobilization to manage the outbreak. We recognize that the budget to both acknowledge a 24 reduction in our expected revenue, which is about 240 billion, and to increase funds for the initiatives to sustain productivity. We also executed our business continuity plan by creating a war cabinet and emergency business protocols to ensure that governance continue. We must say that Lagos State Government, the Cabinet Office, was the first, even before the Cabinet of the United Kingdom, to start virtual meetings. And to date, we have held almost 30 virtual meetings, which has enabled us to continue to air and push governance, even during these very difficult times. Ladies and gentlemen, despite this harsh economic climate occasioned by the pandemic, I'm pleased to report that Lagos State invested heavily in several interventions to minimize the health and economic implications of the pandemic. And I'll just mention a few of them. We had accelerated testing capacity by designating over 30 sample collection centers in our local government, partnering with 11 accredited private laboratories to reach a testing capacity which was over 2,000 at some point on a daily basis. We increased the isolation center to about 10 at the height of it, and we accredited 4 private hospitals to manage COVID-19 patients. We used over 1,000 contact tracers. We used over 20,000 people at various levels, and these levels covered close to 900,000 households were reached during that period. In line with our deliberate citizens engagement strategy, we increased the level of proactive communication and collaboration with our citizens. We had over 22 updates, whilst we deliver, as I was the incident commander, daily case count updates, as well as containment and management strategies that has been initiated by the state. During this period also, the state government were able to facilitate the first phase of a 6,000-kilometer unified fiber duct infrastructure deployment under a PPP initiative, which brought about high-speed broadband internet connectivity to homes and offices and institutions like schools and hospitals. I must thank Mr. Speaker and this Honorable House for approving, even during the COVID-19 lockdown, for approving that broadband internet access for us. You came around and you did approve that initiative for us. I want to thank you very much, and I see real collaborative effort between ourselves and yourself. This forms the first part of our Smart City initiative, which also include the installation at the end of it about 2,000 intelligent cameras around critical spots in the state, which we firmly believe will go a long way towards mitigating against crime, enhancing traffic management, and improving our data gathering capability. We're also on the back of an improved city-wide coordination from our command and control center. We have also deployed electronic devices to over 9,000 teachers, and it is planned to reach about 350,000 pupils in all of our public primary schools. We intend to continue to expand this program by working with the private sector to reach 20,000 teachers and about 1 million students over the next 1 or 1.5 years. I'm pleased to also inform you that we launched Eco Telemed, the first state-of-the-art telemedicine platform in Nigeria. This is also unprecedented, and I'm proud of this very simple, noble achievement. The challenge of COVID-19 created a social distancing that has indeed laid the foundation for Lagos as a smart city state with the intention of being the technology hub for Africa, and this, we believe, would outlast even the pandemic. To boost employment and to encourage entrepreneurs, a total of 103 billion was invested in infrastructure to signal our faith in the future. We provide employment and downstream contracts for MSMEs. In addition, we extended tax filing deadlines by 60 days. We gave loan moratorium of over 90 days to ease the working capital of all of these small businesses. We also committed about 5 billion to enable the Lagos Employment Trust Fund leverage additional 10 billion in support to MSMEs with very low interest rate. We also provided 19 job programs which limits layoff and stimulated growth in high employment. This program created about 395,000 jobs directly over the last few months in construction and agriculture specifically. And we saw that the average wage income from all of these jobs that were created was about 55,000 naira. While it is greater than the national wage minimum, we've also flagged off the paid internship program, which will allow about 4,000 young graduates to get job experience over the next 6 months. Lagos State is also home to many vulnerable households who need support, and will appreciate that we certainly need to give them that support. And so we set up 202 food distribution centers across our local governments, which on a daily basis gave about 37,000 household packs for raw food, and which they fed about 100,000 indigent youths. In addition, we collaborated with the federal government to facilitate about 136 million for about 7,000 vulnerable households. That number, we're hoping that in the next 1 year, we can increase that household to about 100,000. I'm exceptionally proud of the hard work, the diligence, the sacrifice, and the tireless effort of every member of this government. Their willingness to go above and beyond and put Lagos on an enviable pedestal. I'll just take a few slides to review the 2020 budget. Mr. Speaker, honorable members of the House, let me seize a moment to just talk about our achievements in the 2020 budget. In May, we were compelled to slash the 2020 budget by about 21%, in line with the new realities that we find ourselves. The budget was slashed from 1.16 trillion to about 920 billion. The Lagos State House of Assembly approved that revised budget in August 2020 with a 10% reduction in recurrent expenditure and a 24% reduction in capital expenditure. The revised budget of 2020 appropriation bill approved by the House has a total revenue of about 112 billion and a deficit financing of about 108 billion. The recurrent expenditure was put about 413 billion, while the capital expenditure was 507 billion, which makes even the readjusted budget at 55-45 capital to recurrent expenditure. And I want to thank you very much, for that collaborative effort again. As at September 2020, our total revenue performance is about 98%, while our total expenditure and total recurrent expenditure is at 71 and 83% respectively. At the end of the first quarter 2020, our total budget performance was just about 56%, and that moved to about 58% at the end of second quarter. But I'm glad to announce that at the end of third quarter, we had actually gone to 77% of our budget performance. We're believing that, given the trend that we've seen, that by the end of the fourth quarter, your budget, the budget that we came and you passed for us, will do about 88 to 89% budget performance. Mr. Speaker, I'm proud to report to you today that despite the daunting challenges, we have made remarkable progress in all critical sectors, especially in finance, in health, in education, in transportation, in agriculture, and in environment. Sectoral achievements and projections. We must not forget that the success of this administration is predicated on our ability to generate wealth, without which we cannot take charge, we cannot take care of our people. Consequently, we see every challenge as an opportunity for us to act. And I'm proud to tell you that despite the gloomy socio-economic outlook across the world and the dwindling oil economy, Lagos State had made significant fiscal progress. On the finance side, we're able to successfully restructure all our existing internal loans from a high interest of averaging 18 to 20%. We're able to restructure all of them to 12%. In the same case, we even got some at single digits, meaning we got loan at 6% and also at 9% in the course of the year. And so the resultant effect of that global reduction in our numbers will be giving us a savings of about 12 billion in savings alone of interest expense. Our debt profile will also be held in local currency so that we do not expose ourselves to foreign currency risk. Although revenue collection remains a major challenge, we will continue to enjoin Lagosians to pay their correct taxes so that we can all enjoy inclusive development, which is a major thrust of this administration. On our part, we will assiduously work at improving the tax system through revolutionary reforms that will enable easy tax collection and payments. Another major achievement in our ongoing fiscal cycle is a successful review, together with the House, of the 2018 Land Use Charge Law. This law now accommodates the yearnings of Lagosians for a more friendly, modern, and realistic land use charge. We strongly believe that with the new land use charge law and other complementary initiatives like the EGIS, the e-tax, and the Lagos Real Estate Regulatory Authority, LSHA, the electronic platform, the sector will be better organized. We will be able to provide improved service from government to our various stakeholders, and we believe that we will increase the valid revenue to the state from the various sectors going forward. Mr. Speaker and honorable members of this House, in line with keeping the cost of governance low and to signal our resolve of selflessness in public service, Mr. Speaker, we will be sending a draft executive bill to this honorable House to immediately repeal the Public Office Holder Payment of Pension Law 2007, which provides for pension and entitlement to former governors and their deputies. Let me repeat for emphasis. We will be sending an executive bill to this House, which will appeal that the House will help to repeal the Public Office Holder Payment of Pension to former governors and deputy governors, because of our resolve that we need to lead from the front, and we need to show this with Lagos State. We'll be sending this executive bill to this noble House. It is our firm belief that with the dwindling revenue and the perpetuant inflationary growth rates, that we need to come up with innovative ways of keeping the cost of governance at a barest minimum while endangering the spirit of selfless service in public space. On health, quality healthcare remains an important thrust of our administration's agenda. We are cognizant of the fact that a healthy people build a healthy economy. We therefore prioritize preventive healthcare while we optimize the supply and the demand aspect of our healthcare services. I'm proud to inform you that in 2019, the Lagos State had the highest sub-national health spend even before the COVID-19 pandemic started. This year, our health sector had an increased budgetary allocation to 97 billion, with 25 billion earmarked for construction, refurbishment, and recouping of our various healthcare centers across the state to achieve a fit-for-purpose healthcare center. In tackling the pandemic, we committed additionally a major chunk of our 20 billion COVID intervention fund to the health sector. I can confidently say that for us in Lagos, the pandemic has led to a significant improvement in our healthcare facilities and in our systems. We'll expect the health allocation to grow from about 12% to about 13.5% over the next 2 years. On a year-on-year basis, we're seeing that growth. And we expect that the constructs will be able to construct more health facilities and renovate existing health infrastructure. Mr. Speaker, honorable members of the House, I'm pleased to report that we have completed the equipping and furnishing of our maternal and child care center at Badagry and Epe. We are also at the present rehabilitation. We're also presently rehabilitating our general hospitals at Isolo, Ibutemeta, Have, and the General Hospital, Lagos. In the vein of our ongoing construction and rehabilitation efforts in the health sector, I must mention that we're also going ahead this year, before the end of this year, with the construction of our new Mercy Children Hospital, which we believe when completed, it will be the largest, the biggest children hospital in the whole of sub-Saharan Africa. In addition to this, Mr. Speaker, we will also be flagging off the construction of the Ojo Amuwo General Hospital. We will also be constructing the state-of-the-art psychiatric hospital at K2 Ejiri. We are also equally committed to building the Lagos State Infectious Disease Research Center at the IDH Yaba, which we believe will be our own modest efforts at response to strengthening our infectious disease research and development capability. When another COVID comes, we will be more than ready for that in the future. We have also increased to 205 the number of empaneled health facility under our Lagos State Health Management Agency, LSHA, to provide health services under the State Insurance Health Scheme. In addition, Mr. Speaker, we've also recruited over 760 health workers, largely made up of doctors, nurses, lab scientists in the course of the year. We're duty-bound to ensure that even Lagosians, when every Lagosians walk into our government-owned facilities, the quality of healthcare they get should be comparable to the standard that is expected in other public institutions around the world. On education, Mr. Speaker, the state recognizes the transformative potential that education brings to the table, which is why an education sector remains a major focus for this administration. Nothing will deter us from committing additional resources to qualitative education because it is the bedrock of any forward-looking society. We have revolutionized our education sector by cutting-edge technology, constant training of our teachers, continuous renovation and construction of schools, and expanding of our skill acquisition center. We recognize that early child education is the foundation of all learning endeavors. In our resolve not to leave any child behind, we have launched the Eco Excel program to improve the learning outcomes of our children. As mentioned earlier, we have deployed learning devices to over 9,000 teachers while providing complementary textbooks and other auxiliary teaching aid to all the over 350 pupils in all of our primary schools. These devices will serve as teaching aids. Under our school digitalization program, we will also give our students electronic devices. I'm also specifically excited about this program as it sparks the future of our children. Just for emphasis, in the next 2 to 3 months, you will see that almost all of the teachers in our primary school will have this learning capability, which will aid, the skills of these young pupils in our primary school, which will believe that that's where we need to start it from, right from the primary school, and that's what Eco Excel it's all about. In addition, Mr. Speaker, we have constructed and rehabilitated almost 600 classrooms, and we've also cumulatively built about 1,580 additional bed hostel accommodation for our secondary schools. We've also provided furniture for about 220,000 students. We might not have distributed all of them into the schools, but we've taken delivery of almost this number, about 220,000 furniture for our students. It is a fact that for many indigent families, education is their only hope. It is more or less the only lifeline which they can be lifted out of poverty, and they hold tenaciously to their belief in the state government to provide their children with both qualitative and quantitative education. We are therefore saddled with the responsibility of creating better opportunities for our children through provision of qualitative education that truly liberates and eventually leads to economic development. Let me assure you that our investment in the education sector has begun to yield results. In the course of this year, our National Junior Engineers, Technicians and Scientists, the JETS competition, the Lagos State contingent in male and female received 11 trophies and 14 medals. Also, in the year 2019, the finals of the National Robotic and Olympiads, which was held at the World Robot Olympiad held in Hungary. Lagos State team came second, third, and fourth in the whole of Africa. I'm also pleased to mention that just last month, our own Oriu Senior Secondary School, Ikorodu, emerged the overall best secondary school in the whole of the Federation. Our tertiary institutions is also not left out. The Lagos State University, Ojo Lasu, emerged as the second best Nigerian university in the Times Higher Education World University Ranking for 2021, and it is first amongst state and private universities in the whole of our country. From cradle to career, our approach to education is predicated on boosting learning through technology and other modern tools. In the last 500 days, this administration has renovated over 20 libraries and information technology centers across the 6 education districts we have. We have also trained over 100,000 students in coding through the Code Lagos, a program that covered 656 public and private schools in the state. Our education policy and intervention reflects our current realities, which is why we are the first state in the country to approve an e-learning infrastructure for state-owned tertiary institutions to mitigate the effect of the pandemic in our schools' access to education. With over 250 million already disbursed in the course of the year for bursary awards to over 8,200 beneficiaries, and to almost 200 million as scholarship award to almost 845 beneficiaries, we're set to do more in ensuring that nothing deters our people from access to good education. Mr. Speaker, under transportation and infrastructure, our audacious disposition to governance is evident in our approach to transportation and traffic management, which is our first pillar in this administration's team's agenda. And in line with this, we made the decision to solve about 60 identified gridlock points across the state, in addition to converting 6 critical junctions and roundabouts. And I'm sure you've seen some of them at the Kotu, at the Opebi, on Allen, and about 3 of them on the Lekki corridor. We are putting with synchronized signalization and to increase vehicular capacity. We're also commencing some strategic transportation projects. We have now reached a financial close for the Red Line Rail project under a long-term bespoke, first-in-class financing structure of about 100 billion, a single-digit interest rate. No thanks, or a big thanks to this House for supporting us in this very laudable initiative. It's the very first again in our country, a single-digit bespoke creative financing that we'll be using for our red line. This red line will provide a 24-kilometer rail line from Agbado to Oyingbo, and it will reach Marina in the second phase. When completed, it's expected to have 8 train stations. It will have 10 bridges, overhead bridges, and it will have 13 pedestrian bridges across the length and breadth. It's supposed to move over 20 million people on a monthly basis and reduce their travel time from about 2 hours to less than 45 minutes. We want to thank the House for this support once again. We're also determined to raise the required funding to complete the 27-kilometer blue line, which is from Okokomaiko to Marina. You can see that work has not stopped. The columns, the bridges are going on, and we're committed also to the red line, to the blue line. Like the red line, the blue line is also supposed to move about 12 million passengers on a monthly basis. Some of our other ongoing transportation projects include what we call a very creative regional bypass road, which is a 9-kilometer, 3-lane, rigid pavement, which has 2 bridges from VGC off the Lekki-Epe Express Road to Freedom Road. This road had started, and we're believing that within the next year and a half, that road should be completed. Also, a month ago, we flagged off the 18.7 kilometer, again, 6 lanes, 3 lanes on each side, rigid pavement from Eleko Junction to Epe Township Road on the Lekki-Epe Express Road. These roads, we believe, will help us finalize the full viability of the proposed 4th Mainland Bridge. These 2 roads that I just mentioned are part of our own interventions, so that when the concessionaires come for the 4th Mainland Bridge, we will have done what we meant to do. The 4th Mainland Bridge, by the grace of God, we might be able to do the financial closure next year. It's a 37-kilometer ring road that takes you from the Lekki-Epe Express Road and finally take you to the Lagos-Ibadan Express Road. Honorable members of the House, let me assure you all that we have continued to deliver on our various other road projects across the state, despite the slowdown occasioned by the pandemic. For example, we're doing what we call regional integration in Ikoyi. For Ikoyi people, Thompson, McDonald, Milverton, it's been going on. In Victoria Island, Oluku Agbaje and Adiola Hopewell, it's also going on. We have other roads in Adeyema Lakija, in Ikeja GRA. We're doing Dosumu, we're doing Shobo Arobiodu. In Koshofe, we're doing Demure, we're doing Church. In Ikorodu, we're doing the Jede, we're doing Agri Kishawo, we're doing Obase Kumade, which is the Pakodo Road within the Ikorodu axis. In Alimosho, we're doing Ishuti Road, the Gondo Egon, Ayobo Phase 2 Road, which also have the bridge component, is also going on. The Penn Cinema flyover, Mr. Speaker, will be completed very, very soon. The Onike Iwaya Road in Lagos mainland is also going on. The St. Fimbas Bariga to Sholui Road, also in Shomolu axis, is also going on. The Aradagun Imeko Mowe Road for off Lagos Badagry Express is also going on, just to mention but a few. But also to mention that our public works have completed to date about 157 roads, inner roads in all parts of the state. And finally, Mr. Speaker, we're also very, very modestly, putting forward our total 377 ward projects. The entire 377 ward projects have roads, have electrification, have drainages, and have water infrastructure in every of our 377 wards. The jobs are going on, and we'll expect that these are real dividends of democracy for our people. Mr. Speaker, under agriculture and food security, one of the major takeaways from the coronavirus pandemic is the need to enhance food security by exploring the possibility in the agricultural sector. We now have an ambitious goal of turning our state to the food basket of the entire region, while at the same time creating employment opportunity for our Lagosians, especially our teeming youth. The time has come for us to generate increased wealth from our very small land and our coastal heritage. And some of our interventions in the agricultural sector will include, we have launched a 5-year strategic agricultural master plan, which lays forward a set of initiatives and plan which will propel Lagos into a national agricultural powerhouse. We're also establishing what we call a Lagos State Aquatic Center for Excellence, LACE, under a PPP framework. This we believe will boost fish production from about 20% that we have now to about 80%, and in event employ about 12,000 fish farmers, both directly and indirectly. We're also at the final stage of completing the biggest rice mill in the country, which is the mortar rice mill, which we believe will give directly and indirectly over 150,000 jobs to our people and to our youth in the neighborhood. The completion of the Lagos Production Center, AVIA, in Badagry, and other statewide agricultural focus initiatives, which we believe over the next 6 to 9 months could create about 100,000 jobs directly and indirectly for our youth. The initiative of a methodological food market policy that support wholesale food markets. This policy will create a pathway for increased investment in the supply chain and make our markets better organized. We recognize the potential and will establish stakeholders in the agricultural space to partner with us. Agriculture is a critical component of our social economic growth and in development in Lagos. And I want to say that Lagos is willing and ready to tap and harness the benefits that we believe is available in this sector. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I will now present the 2021 budget. The 2021 appropriation bill, which, like I said, we've called the budget of rekindled hope, to reflect our determination to rise above the challenge that has affected our development indices in the last 10 months. This budget of rekindled hope demonstrates our willingness to overcome all obstacles and deliver all electoral promises to Lagosians. Let me assure you that we have not deviated from the promise we made when this administration was inaugurated on May 29, 2019. We will fulfill each of these promises. We have a special responsibility to deliver every of our campaign promise. I urge Lagosians to tenaciously keep hope alive, and we forge ahead together with our plans, our programs, and our projects designed to achieve the Lagos of our dream. As we go into the 2021 budget of rekindled hope, it continues to remind us about our team's agenda, which is just as relevant as it's always been. This was the agenda that people voted for and continue to affirm through the collective fora and civic engagement undertaken through the budget process. And I want to thank the honorable members of the House for your interactive session on 29th day of October 2020 at your various constituencies. All your observations and comments have also been taken on board at the preparation of this budget. The coronavirus pandemic and the NSAS protests have also heightened the need to urgently implement all of our agenda under the team's agenda. The 2021 budget will, among other things, provide: 1, youth employment. It has become expedient to leverage our developmental effort by focusing on sectors with job creation potential like agriculture, construction, technology, and security. We are set to improve the economic condition and social safety needed for our youth and all hardworking Lagosians to flourish. We are committing resources to sectors that need to grow for our people to become self-reliant and economically empowered. Consequently, for the agricultural sector and our food security plan, we have a cumulative budget of about 23 billion, while we're committing a cumulative provisional provision of 311 billion to infrastructure. This will cover direct intervention through the Ministries of Works and Infrastructure, Ministry of Waterfront, Ministry of Transportation, and the Judiciary. Our school projects, and of course our attempt at also establishing the Lagos Rebuild project, which I will talk about very shortly. This does not include the value to be created from executing the rail, the blue line, and the red line, which I'm sure you know it's like an off-balance sheet item. We're treating it. To continue to drive our digitalization strategy, we have committed a total of 37 billion investment in technology, whilst in the environment and health services, we are committing a total of 48.2 billion and 111.9 billion respectively. in line with our urgent need to light up Lagos and to bring a set of initiatives in the energy sector and to ensure that Lagos economy is supported by the initiative of Power One community at the time. To this, we're committing about 32 billion in the 2021 budget. The 2021 appropriation bill also speaks to the restoration of our economic balance, as well as to navigate our way out of negative impact of both the pandemic and the destruction of assets following the NSAS protest that was hijacked. A pivotal crux of the 2021 budget will be the promotion of an entrepreneurial culture amongst our people. In light of this, micro, small, and medium enterprises will be strengthened across various activities to help to facilitate social economic advancement. We have done a lot of support. For the entrepreneurs in the Lagos State through the Lagos Employment Trust Fund, and we will do more by providing technical and financial support so that they can in turn generate employment that will stimulate equitable economic prosperity. We understand that we must consolidate our gains in technology sector for accelerated growth and job creation. And in order to achieve this, we will collaborate with major players in that space like Oracle, Microsoft, and Google to prepare our youths for IT jobs in the market. As we focus on job and wealth creation, we will also prioritize security of life and property. And of course, we will continue to gather local intelligence in our various communities by ensuring a significant number of our neighborhood watch officers are re-energized, they are re-employed, and they are also reactivated for the next 1 year. All this we believe will achieve through our human development ministries: Ministry of Education, Ministry of Women Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Ministry of Wealth Creation, including Lagos Employment Trust Fund, this advisor on SGD and Lagos Global. Consequently, the cumulative budgetary provision for our human capital development effort comes to a total of about 148.7 billion. On security, as we work on reviving the growth of our economy, we must commit resources to our statewide security architecture, especially in the areas of intelligence gathering and motivation of all security personnel, like I said, in our neighborhood watch. We will not just increase the number of our neighborhood watch personnel across the state, we will enhance and ensure that their training includes community engagement, includes de-escalation techniques, and proactive information gathering within our various communities. We believe that as the population of Lagos increases and becomes more sophisticated, we should ensure that the training of our security personnel is also enhanced, and they are promoted to cope with the extant challenges. I must thank the private sector that have continued to demonstrate great support for Lagos through the Lagos State Employment Trust Fund, through the Lagos State Security Trust Fund. However, we still have a long way to go, and we need more contribution to the fund to properly execute the war against crime and insecurity. In addition, we will henceforth enforce our LSHA registration as well as our safety and fiscal planning rules. It has become imperative that we're able to identify every resident of our dear state. The idea of being anonymous in Lagos will no longer be accommodated. Youth engagement and social work. The possibility for economic and social growth are abound in our states. However, we must be emphatic about engaging our youth. As a father, as a politician, and as your governor, I'm saddened by the increasing rise of the substance abuse amongst our youths, particularly the boys. Our developmental vision will be incomplete without a vibrant, capable, and healthy youth population to take the baton of leadership when we leave the scene. Mr. Speaker, this government has therefore made it imperative to increase its financial commitment to youth mentoring mental health support, and substance and abuse rehabilitation. Very soon, we will unveil a comprehensive action plan that will address this issue. It's beyond what we need to just carpet under and not talk about. It's something that is critical, it's something that is germane, and parents and guardians need to all come forward, and we all need to tackle this challenge. We all need to tackle the menace frontally, and we will be leading from the front. And so the Ministry of Youth and Social Development, Office of Civic Engagement, will approach and ensure that a robust communication strategy that will highlight government projects and initiatives in a format that is easy for the youth to digest. Our intention is to cultivate their trusts and to get them to embrace participatory governance. We must do all we can to deter them from cybercrime and other vices. Consequently, we proposed an allocation of about 10 billion on the budget for this exercise in the 2021 budget. Mr. Speaker, the sector-by-sector analysis of the proposed 2021 budget is as follows. For general public service, we will have a total of about 136.27 billion. For economic affairs, we have a total of about 381.852 billion. I mean, economic affairs include agriculture, commerce, tourism, energy, transportation, infrastructure, and all the likes. For environments, we're proposing a total of 50.93 billion. Environment includes drainage and other environmental services. On housing and community amenities is 40.28 billion. On health, it is 118.36 billion. On recreation, culture, and religion is 5.1 billion. On education, it is 143.655 billion. For social protection, it is 9.1 billion. Mr. Speaker, I'm presenting a budget size of 1,155,022,413,005 naira and 82 kobo. I want to assure this Honorable House of our administration's firm commitment to a legacy of hope, to a legacy of financial stability, to a legacy of fiscal prudence. We will reduce the discriminatory impact of poverty by strengthening all regulatory and institutional framework that are critical to the preservation of our state's rich cultural, financial, and historical heritage. We have resolved to keep exploring the public-private partnership strategy in the provision of infrastructure, social service, and the conversion of our challenges to opportunities within the context of our scarce financial resources. Let me reiterate our incident call for Lagosians to be given, let me reiterate our call for Lagos State to be given a special status as the nation's commercial nerve center. I don't think we're asking for too much, going by our huge population and the contribution to national prosperity. Accordingly, Lagos State's special status will improve our efficiency in managing some of the infrastructure that service our national economy. This is the heart of Nigerian economy. Every investment in the infrastructure of Lagos is an investment in the rapid economic growth of this nation. And so I want to thank this House ahead, because we're also bringing an executive bill forward, which I've discussed with Mr. Speaker, to set up the Lagos Rebuild Project, which is a trust fund on rebuilding Lagos. An executive bill will also be coming to the House in the next couple of days or weeks ahead. I'm grateful to the organized private sector for always responding to our call for partnership. We have seen some of them coming up with the highest level of partnership, and we're indeed grateful to them. They have shown uncommon support for our government, and their commitment to civic engagement is unparalleled. The same goes to all the security agencies. They are always there when we need them, and I want to thank them. Let me also thank all members and all workers in our various ministries, departments, and agencies for identifying with our vision and working hard to achieve our set objectives. We have made considerable progress, but we are not where we want to be yet. There is still so much work to be done, and there is not the time for us to rest on our oars. I urge you to avoid complacency. You must remember that we have all have the collective task of implementing public sector reforms for more efficient and qualitative service delivery. I urge you to imbibe the values of transparency, integrity, and accountability as we invest in the training that puts you at par with other developed countries in the world. You hold Lagos State the responsibility of acquiring the skills and attitude needed to advance the public interests. Mr. Speaker, I also want to appreciate all the honorable members of this House for your support, for your patience, your understanding, and your continued cooperation. Your words and action are truly above the common standards of excellence. I want to thank you for being responsive to the needs of your constituents. I hope we remain united as we work to justify the confidence reposed in us by all Lagosians. I want to thank the leadership of this House. I want to thank each and every one of you for personally believing in the Sanwo-Olu Hamzat agenda and for working with us tirelessly. I want to thank the leadership and our teaming members of our great party, the All Progressive Congress, our royal fathers, for your inflicting support, your unwavering trust, and your patience. I'm confident that we will accomplish more together as we go into 2021. I'm grateful to the people of Lagos State for the opportunity and the privilege to serve. I know that this is a position of trust. I assure you that we will intensify the pace of work in the coming days to improve and to add to your life, to improve the level of trust and the level of commitment that will be given to you as the leaders in government today. I want to urge you to work with our government as we consolidate the gains of the past and confront the challenges of the future. Our valued reputation, our economic independence, and our treasured heritage are priceless. These are values that we must strive to protect. We understand your needs, and we have no business being in government if we cannot advance your interests through people-centered projects and strategies. I want to promise every Lagosian that are out there for us at all times that we will actualize your hope in this government while counting on you to play your own role as the need may arise. When we started last year, we took our time to fully comprehend your challenges and your needs in order to articulate our effective strategies. I'm glad that in the past 18 months, our multi-pronged approach to governance have yielded transformative achievements in the areas of massive road construction, housing projects that we've commissioned and the ones that will commission, jetties, boats and waterways infrastructure, standard health facility, human and capacity development, as well as an efficient and effective service delivery mechanism. We will not rest on our laurels as we maximize this privilege and the unique opportunity to actualize the potential of our state and to launch her on the path of irreversible prosperity for the benefit of our people. Mr. Speaker, as I commend this 2021 budget estimate to this Honorable Assembly, I am confident that you and your colleagues will, in your usual style, expeditiously do the needful. I want to use this opportunity to also, in advance, say happy birthday to Mr. Speaker, who I'm sure his birthday is tomorrow, and also to say happy birthday to two honorable members, Honorable Abiru and Layode, whose birthday are also today. I also want to thank God for your life and for being in this place at this crucial time. On our part, our progressive vision for 2021 remains clear. Provision and to provide a honest, an innovative, a creative, a sacrificial, a courageous, and audacious leadership needed to actualize a clean, beautiful, secure, and prosperous Lagos of our dream. I want to thank you all for listening. I want to wish Lagos State the very best. I want to wish Nigeria all the very best. Thank you very much for listening.
Oh,
Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm sure we have more than enough time to celebrate Honorable Abiru and Honorable Layode. I hope we have made provision for cake and so immediately we continue. And tomorrow we'll come back for my own turn. Let me recognize one of our leaders here present, Babajide Shibodu Bako. We thank you for coming. You are most welcome, sir. Alhaji Mutiware, you are most welcome. And our former clerk, Mr. Jayo Simi, ROJ. You are most welcome. We thank you for coming. Well, I think the presentation and laying done today, that will be in honor of both Abiru and Layode. Probably will come back, the governor will come back tomorrow and lay another one for. Yeah, Mr. Babajide Olushola Sanwo-Olu, the governor of Lagos State, the deputy governor, Dr. Bafemi Amsad, Chief Judge of Lagos State, Justice Kasim Alogba, distinguished members of National Assembly, our highly esteemed royal fathers here present, members of State Executive Council, captains of industry, leader of our peace-setting party, All Progressive Congress, community leaders, chairman of local government and local council development areas, members of diplomatic corps, captain of industry, market men and women, our energetic youths, member of the fourth state of the realm, all invited guests present, all Lagosian distinguished colleagues. Ladies and gentlemen, I give gratitude to Almighty Allah, the Alpha and Omega, the merciful and protector of our lives, for making us witness this presentation of year 2021 budget today by Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, the governor of Lagos State. You are all welcome to this all-important event. Dear Lagosians, we have all listened with rapt attention to how the wealth of our state will be utilized by our own common good in year 2021, with the presentation of the budget size 1,155,413,550 team budget of rekindled hope. The responsibility is now on the members of this house, this honorable house, to do the needful, and I assure you that we will meticulously perform our constitutional duty. Distinguished guests, just like this last year, Mr. Governor was here to make a formal presentation of the year 2020 budget. Unbeknownst to us all that a major crisis that will rock the entire world in the name of coronavirus was in the oven. COVID-19 really hit us all as a people. We recorded many sad deaths in the hand of this deadly virus, including one of our own, Honorable Tunde Braimo. At the same time, all sorts of events have happened in the year 2020 that will take time and resilience to address. These events have deepened the projected economic contraction this year, causing disruptions in supply chain and faster rise in inflation. As we have heard, Mr. Governor, the major focus of the year 2021 budget will be to address some of the challenges posed by these unprecedented events. You will agree with me that the effects of COVID-19 on the world economy cannot be overemphasized. Right now, many people have been made unemployed by COVID-19. Some companies are still counting their losses. We were still grappling with the resultant effect of COVID-19 when the NSAS protests greeted us. Even though the protesters had good intentions to make their grievances known as regard police brutality in the country, it is sad to note that the action in the long run turned so as some unpatriotic elements not only hijacked the situation, but also saw it as an avenue to unleash mayhem. The devastating effect of these disruptions that follow the NSAS protests in these states particularly are beyond imagination. The anarchy, burning, and looting of businesses have hit the economy with a blow beneath the belt. At the backdrop of the destruction of public and private properties and business in the wake of the NSAS protests, businesses have been counting their losses while economy experts have listed the immediate challenges the crisis will throw up against Nigeria's struggling economy. Also, the replacement cost to Lagos State's government, which is the worst hit by the crisis, is put at 1 trillion. More so, the overall cost to the private businesses has been put at several billions of dollars. As is evident, the role social media played in all of this cannot be overlooked. While we continue to support freedom of expression, willingness to interact with everyone, be it youth, elderly, and all categories of people as government, there is a need for us to be wary of those who use social media as a weapon of destruction, intimidation, assault, and violation of the rights of others. When social media is employed in a ruthless manner, such that causes disharmony, disaffection, and disintegration among family, friends, and ethnic groups, it can no longer be considered to be beneficial to the society as a whole. For those who lost their lives and property, particularly the gallant Nigerian police, those whose business were destroyed, the city or the Lagos judiciary, the TVC family, all the petty traders and affected banks and the residents of our dear state, we identify with you at this trying period. I would like to reiterate my recent statement about our commitment as a responsive assembly in working together with the executive to bring succor to all the individuals affected in the aftermath of the NSAS protests. I assure you that the state is on the right course at achieving this, as the committee set up by the House will forward its outcome to the panel. Having said that, may I use this medium to lay emphasis on the need for this state to be moved forward. It is over 20 years already that a solid foundation was erected by the administration of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. It is high time that we establish a new pedestal of infrastructural development and revenue generation in the state. The state should act like a bold polar bear in challenging, restraining obstacles. It should be focused like a lion chasing a prey and ensure peaceful atmosphere like a dove. Likewise, the need to increase and strengthen the manpower of our neighborhood safety corps is very important. They need to be empowered and equipped with necessary tools that will make their job effective. As I said recently, more voices should be lent for state police too. We cannot continue like this as a nation as far as issue of security is concerned. May I call on the youths also that while we are in support of your agitations and working out modality to meet your yearnings, you should desist from any form of destruction and vandalism of public properties. However, permit me to admonish our great party, All Progressive Congress, to learn from the failure of the party in control yesterday, ensure brotherhood and togetherness in the party. Our party must desist from witch hunting its power block in the name of political permutation. It should be known to those flying witch hunting cars within the party that a sword that shreds its sheath lacks protection. As such, I implore us to hold hands together to make the APC stronger, viable, and resilient for the benefit of future elections. All our party leaders and followers in Lagos, particularly our national leader and the GAC members, let us be resolute, determined, and focused, and stand together in unity. Surely, we will always remain upright on our feet and victorious in every situation and condition. Lagos will never fall. Once again, I thank you all for coming, and I wish us a fruitful year 2021. Ìgbéga ìpínlẹ̀ Èkó, àjùmọ̀ṣe gbogbo wa ni. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Well, let me recognize also our immediate past clerk, Mr. Assis Sonny. You are most welcome. We thank you very much. Yeah, after the motion for adjournment, I will invite some of our guests here to take the picture of your for 2020, your 2021 budget. Then the rest will be taken outside. There will be a procession immediately going out with the speaker, the governor, the deputy governor, chief judge, and I think in that order. Then, Madam Speaker, so that will be the procession. The rest of the photograph will take place outside. Why? Before I call for motion of adjournment, let me invite the deputy governor, the chief judge, head of service, secretary to the state government to join us, Madam Speaker, the deputy speaker, and Madam Deputy Speaker to join us on the high table. You can start coming while I'm asked for motion for adjournment. Yeah. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, before my last motion for the day, I'll first want to move that the rules of the House with respect to plenary and debate earlier suspended be resuscitated. Also, Rule 159, earlier activated, be deactivated. I so move.
Honorable Lua.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to second the motion.
All in favor, say aye. Those against, the ayes have it. Yeah, second leg of your motion.
Finally, with the approval of Mr. Speaker, I move that this Honorable House adjourns till Monday, the 16th day of the month at 12 noon prompt. I so move.
Before the question is put, I hereby invite Mr. Governor. The Commissioner of Police, come along please, and the Chief of Staff. Honorable Layode.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I rise to second the motion as moved by the majority leader. Thank you,
All
sir.
in favor, say aye. Those against, nay. The ayes have it. This House stands adjourned till Monday, 16 November 2020 at 12 noon prompt. I rise.